All right, joining me now to discuss is the Executive Vice President of the National Taxpayers Union, Brandon Arnold. Thanks for the time tonight.
My pleasure.
All right, so we know that Chuck Schumer his only metric is political survival. AOC threatened a primary because he capitulated to doing exactly what Elizabeth Warren said. So if he gives these Republicans a 7-week extension, the base is going to flip out. If he doesn't, the government shutdown is going to happen, but there's no way Democrats can blame it on Republicans.
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, this is a political game if there ever is one. And, the amount of hypocrisy coming from Capitol Hill is absolutely jarring. But right now, what they're asking for is about a $1.5 trillion increase to our national debt. $1.5 trillion just to keep the lights on, as Senator Warren was just saying, which is incredibly important to the institution of democracy, to keep the lights on. They're demanding $1.5 trillion. That's more than the entire economy of Switzerland. This is insanity right now. All they're trying to do is extend funding. And like you said, Schumer's trying to turn this into a political circus to keep a primary challenger office back. It's ridiculous.
Do Republicans have in a way themselves to blame? I mean, they've had all this time to make a budget, and I remember Trump saying no more CRs, but then it was like, well, we got no choice. Here's another CR. And if you go September 30th, 7 weeks, we're going to be doing the same exact thing at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's CR after CR, and we keep saying this is the last one, except for, of course, the next one that's a few months down the road. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen here. We're going to pass this CR. We're going to set up this big showdown right before Thanksgiving when everybody smells the jet fumes and wants to get back and have turkey with their families. And guess what? That iteration of a CR, I think, is potentially going to be worse than this one. If we are able to get through this one unscathed, get a clean CR, not re-up these incredibly expensive Obamacare subsidies that Democrats want to see made permanent, then that Thanksgiving allure is going to make it even more difficult for conservatives to hold the line and keep these programs from being extended, or keep Democrats from rolling back some of the gains that we made, like kicking illegal immigrants out of Medicaid, those gains that were made during the One Big Beautiful Bill process.
Well, it's also, I mean, the Democrats know a midterm is coming, right? They want to just keep dragging this so they could say Republicans can't lead. Republicans can't lead. I mean, there's not a single poll showing Democrats are in a good position, but they're gonna drag this out as long as they can because there's a slim majority in the Senate.
Yeah, it's the last desperate play for the Democratic Party here. It's basically what Elizabeth Warren said in reverse here. This is the only tool in their toolkit, trying to force a shutdown. It's their only option to try to extract any kind of concessions from Republicans on the Hill or President Trump. So they're going to sit down with President Trump, and they're probably going to butter him up, and they're probably going to tell him how great he is. But they're also going to ask for tens of billions, if not more than $1 trillion in funds. And I think Donald Trump is smart enough to see through this ploy and to recognize that, we should hold the line here, not give in to the Democrats, and not spend tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars in the process.
I mean, what's the point of the One Big Beautiful Bill if we're still doing CRs, right? I mean, what's the point? What was the point over the fight? If now the Democrats are going to be basically controlling the process, and one of the things they're digging in on is this pandemic era health subsidy. The pandemic is over. It's 3 years in the rear view. Next year it's going to be 4 years in the rear view. Why are we still subsidizing health care like there is a government, like there's a lockdown?
Yeah, subsidizing healthcare for people that are making nearly $500,000 a year. We're not talking about the poorest Americans here. We're talking about people that are middle class, upper middle class, that can afford their own health insurance, that shouldn't be receiving subsidies from the federal government. That when Democrats made this law, they made it in a way that it would turn off after the pandemic, because it was a temporary benefit intended to get us through those shutdowns, those lockdowns, and all that. Those are long past the current day here. So it's time to turn these off, as Democrats set up to happen this year, at the end of this year here. So let's let the Democratic law take effect, turn off these subsidies, and go back to a post-pandemic reality.
Well, yeah, they got rid of those caps. It was actually up to $1 million. Like, why are we? I mean, like you said, we're not talking about the indigent poor. We're not talking about the people at the, what was it? It was intended for people like 150% below poverty. Now we're like 1,000% above it. I mean, that's just crazy. But you know what? Once you give out the free stuff, it's hard to take it back.
Yeah, that's right. That was the playbook that they used during the Medicaid changes that they made during the One Big Beautiful Bill. Democrats said, oh, these are horrible. This is the most disadvantaged population that's on Medicaid. Well, they were right. Of course, there were a lot of people that shouldn't be on that program, people that were working, choosing not to work that could have worked. There were illegal immigrants on that program, but they can't run the same playbook here. These are no longer the poorest, most disadvantaged Americans. These are people, again, that are upper middle class, that are making enough money to pay for their own health insurance. And I'm sorry that the federal government has messed up the insurance markets to the extent that they have, but that doesn't mean we should continue to make the problem worse by subsidizing the health insurance of people that can afford their own policies right now. We need to fix the market. We need to make health insurance more affordable. This kind of federal intervention is not going to do that.
Yeah, remember that opportunity we had? And what is it McConnell said? We're going to tear it out root and branch. And then they didn't. Talking about Obamacare, right? They left all of that in place. I mean, they reduced the penalty to like zero, but still they left the machinery of the Obamacare program in place. And of course, Democrats just put it back in when Biden came. I mean, they've got to get serious here. We're not taking health care away from anyone who can't afford it. But this is the mess they made by giving it to people who can make up to $1 million. I'll give you the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember that whole debate that we had in 2017 where we tried to rip out Obamacare root and branch. As you said, every single Republican was on board campaigning against Obamacare. And then we dropped the ball and allowed it to stay on the books. And now we're talking about Republicans playing a role in these enhanced credits. They're even worse than Obamacare. It is really, really upsetting and frustrating for anyone who cares about the direction of this country and our fiscal health.
All right, Brandon, good talk. We'll get you back soon.
Thank you.